Yes, everybody. Hope you're doing fantastically well. It is Connor here, and we are back with the Manchester City preview. Yes, games are coming thick and fast after Chelsea, after the trials and tribulations of that game. We face another tough task tomorrow night at the Etihad. Leeds United facing off with in-form Manchester City, and we couldn't ask for a tougher game. But reflection is key in sport, not only football, but in sport. Hindsight is a wonderful thing, people. And this is what we're here for, isn't it? These are the games we're here for. I've been buoyed by some Pep Guardiola comments as well today, which you can probably tell is why I've got a little bit of energy. And we'll come in with a little bit of energy today because I feel a little bit infused after what I saw the other day. A brilliant performance from Leeds United. So unlucky not to get something. As you can tell on my review, I was beaten. I was absolutely beaten after that. I was heartbroken, absolutely heartbroken. But we're back here. We go again with Leeds United. And as I said at the start, I hope you're all doing fantastically well. Get your comments in. Make sure you stick with me throughout this. I presume it's going to be about 30 minutes as normal. I've extended it from last season. Last season, I was 15 minutes, 15 minutes. But I know you guys like the extensive conversation. So that's what I will be trying to provide today. Now, I'll get into some of the comments here. Thurpo is improving, says Evan. 100% agree. Hi, Connor, says Gail. Hello, Gail. Hope you're doing okay. Good evening, Ian. Long-term subscriber from Wales. How you doing? Hopefully your boy can provide something tomorrow night. Phil's in the house, everybody. Another win against City tomorrow. It's mad, isn't it? Another win. They've not beaten us yet. Katrina, hello, Katrina. Hope you're all doing really well in there. Change the background, Connor. Honestly, Ollie, because I'm such a perfectionist, this has to be some real graphic design. I've got a graphic design background, so I've got an idea of what I want to do. So don't worry, there will be something here in a bit. But yeah, at the moment, it is just hell for leather with content, everybody. It's content left, right, and Charlie when it comes to Leeds United at the minute. So yeah, I'll get to it. Don't worry. Okay, James is in here. Hey, Connor, there's my phone, just letting me know that I am live. Absolutely. Some great comments coming in anyway, guys. Last time City beat us was in the Prem was 03. Yeah, that was the I think that was, I don't even know if they were taken over then. I think they'd moved into the Etihad, or maybe they were taken over. I don't know. Okay, guys, what did we learn from today anyway? Well, we've learned some key things today. We've had Pep Guardiola's press conference today. We've had Marcelo Bielsa's press conference today. We've had little snippets on Leeds United. What's going on? What do we need to expect? The big things to take out from today's press conference. I'm going to start with Pep Guardiola. Pep Guardiola, City, is the fact that Pep Guardiola basically still loves Leeds. He from his press conference today, he basically stated that Leeds were completely unique. It is the only game, and this is what fills me, guys, with a little bit of confidence. It's very unique, he said. These are some of the toughest games. I was going to say two of the two. Yeah, these two games are the toughest. One of the toughest of the season for Manchester City. And this brings me to my second point of Pep Guardiola overthinking this one. We really saw it last season with Guardiola when he was up against Leeds. At Ellen Road, he started overthinking, started putting false nines, players in false nines who shouldn't be there. The selection was a little bit off. We're going to get into that in a little bit. And the second game, nobody talks about that enough. Everybody talks about going down to City and going down to 10 men this season being, mission impossible. And it was mission impossible, but Leeds did it last season at the Etihad with 10 men for about 60 minutes. So we've accomplished that. We know what the DNA going to City in terms of the DNA of how to beat them, because we've done it, Now, the difference is City have improved massively. But, guys, everybody, I will say City have improved. But when we played them last time, I believe the record was they'd won 24 out of 25 games. Now that was unbelievable. If you remember when they faced us, we were completely out of it. Everybody was saying we were going to get absolutely battered, and rightly so. But we came, we saw, and we conquered, the most unlikely odds against us. And we did it with 10 men. We did it with a man less. We're going to get into it, into the specifics of the game. But Pep Guardiola was essentially saying that Marcelo Bielsa's team isn't in trouble. He doesn't believe. He was asked about second season syndrome for Leeds United. He turned around and he went, for Leeds? And the reporter said, yeah, for Leeds. And he went, rightly so. Leeds are near the relegation zone at the minute. And he went, no, I don't think so. And that's a weird thing to hear. But from a top manager, in my opinion, the best manager in the world, to hear that and for him to have that confidence in Marcelo Bielsa, that faith, not that I don't have it, but Pep Guardiola almost batted that question off. He was like, well, no. And he then went on to talk about Leeds' injuries. So he's well aware of Leeds United's playing squad. He's well aware of what is going on in terms of Leeds positionally, in terms of form. Leeds winning, one game in 6. So he's well aware of all these aspects, but he's still turning around and saying, not with Marcelo Bielsa. No, Leeds United will not be going down. And that did fill me with a lot of confidence, because sometimes you see some of the performances. I don't think we've seen a complete performance with the result yet. I think the complete performances were Leicester and Chelsea, but we've not seen a proper win at the end of it yet for me. So I want to see that, but it's really, really, really great hearing that from Pep Guardiola, in my opinion. Now, a lot of you guys have asked me, how is he been overthinking Pep? And we're going to get into that. But initially, the team news is Pascal Struijk's going to be out of this one. Marcelo Bielsa said it was a really unusual injury. Apparently, 2 of his bones have essentially crunched together and he's feeling pain. And apparently, Rodrigo has the exact same thing, which means unless the pain goes away, these 2 ain't coming back, which is more long-term than short-term, in my personal opinion, and a little bit more worrying than I expected. Obviously, Pascal is, aside from Rafinha, my favourite player. I absolutely love him. I think he's elite. Him being out for a period of time does worry me a little bit. And when you talk about Pascal being out for a little bit of time, obviously Robin coming back into the fold, Charlie's still there, obviously, and hopefully we'll see more of him. And we're going to get into my lineup in a little bit, guys. But it does look a little bit threadbare at the back now. And I think when you saw Luke Ayling come in centrally, which on reflection did actually work the other day, when you see that happening, you do sort of question the depth at centre-back, even though we've got a plethora of centre-backs. But yeah, an injury and obviously another injury to Cooper and Robin not going to be up to match fitness, really. A little bit worrying in that regard. Loads of comments coming in, guys. Pascal, sad face. Pascal has been a great addition this year. He's played amazingly. Katrina says Thorpe Arch now needs a hospital instead of a treatment room. Yeah, I completely agree. But yeah, so that was a little bit worried, if I'm honest with you. That was a bit worrying, sorry, if I'm honest with you. And obviously, like I just said to you guys, we figured out the same thing about Rodrigo. So that potentially could be a long-term thing as well. So Leeds United really are threadbare. Another thing to take away is there are, I believe it's 7 players now who are on yellow cards. 7 players who are on yellow cards now. So in a very pressy system, which we did see against Chelsea, which was great. In a very pressy system, Leeds are able to pick up. Leeds do pick up cards quite often, really, when you look at the general plethora of Leeds United's tenure under Marcelo Bielsa. And what I will say as well is Leeds averaging, 11 fouls per game. So I think we're going to pick up a few. Now, would you prefer to pick up yellow cards in these games? Because, you maybe look at Liverpool. I don't look at Arsenal anymore and think this, but you look at Liverpool and you might think if we can get players suspended for that game, it's quite a defeatist mentality, but then it's flip reverse on that. You go into Villa with a lot of your team who are going to be readily available and not nearing suspension. Villa, Burnley must win games, you would argue. So it's interesting. I'd like to get your guys' thoughts on that. Let me know in the comment section below. Gail said we need points now. Russell said, I love the positivity. Russell, I still believe there are fundamental problems in this side. I think we're nowhere near the levels that we were at last year, but I was really buoyed by what I saw at the weekend. I was really, really encouraged by what I saw at the weekend. And unfortunately on this channel, I will say what I see, and some of you might not think that's unfortunate. Some might think it's fortunate. I say what I see. I'm not seeing enough this season for me. And I won't come on here and, guide you guys down a wrong path. You're here for a certain reason, to hear my truth. And I don't believe it's been good enough this season, but I was buoyed, as I keep saying, by what I saw at the weekend. But there we go. So that's the thing of it. Now let's look back to yesteryear. Let's look back to last season when everything was rosy. Leeds were ninth. Bamford was 17 goals in. Rafinha was 6 goals in, by the way, which he's beaten already. Rafinha, 4th joint top scorer in the Premier League. Would be great if we had a couple below him, but Rodrigo and Bamford are our 2nd and 3rd, or joint 2nd top scorers, who are both out of this game. Dan James, Jack Harrison, please step up soon. But yeah, when we look at the games last year, it was once again Manchester City at the game at Ellen Road started like a house on fire. They looked unbelievable, missed chance after chance after chance. And I think that's what I take away from both games when they played against Leeds. They were completely wasteful. And that's been brutally honest with you guys. They were really wasteful. I'm going to get the stats up in a little bit, but it was quite embarrassing how bad Manchester City were in the final third and how efficient Leeds United were in the final third, which when you compare this season to last season, it's night and day with Leeds United. So when I come to Pep Guardiola's overthinking, now this is really what I meant. This was the emergence of specific things from Pep Guardiola, which you were definitely questioning. Now, Zinchenko went into central midfield. Now, I know we've seen Zinchenko for Manchester City playing the false 9 this season, as has every single Manchester City player. But last season, Zinchenko in central midfield was very, very odd, especially with what they had on the bench. Rodri, Gundogan, players of that ilk who were world class. Very, very odd. And this is what I'm talking about with Pep Guardiola overthinking when it comes to specific managers. We saw it in the Champions League final against Chelsea, and we did see it in 2 games against Marcelo Bielsa. Zinchenko was central midfield. Kyle Walker was left on the bench. Nathan Ake came in. I believe Diaz had a knock. I believe he did have a knock from the previous game, but Diaz spent the entire game on the bench. Nathan Ake came in, and Gundogan was on the bench as well. So there were several methods that had worked for Pep Guardiola in previous games that he'd left out. He'd left out. We'd seen so many wins for Manchester City, so many incredible performances, but he did tinker coming up against Marcelo Bielsa. Scott's come in and said, imagine winning against them again. Surely it can't happen. But this is what I'm saying here, Scotty, in terms of just this is going to be one of the ways we win. I think it is based on Pep Guardiola, unfortunately, because I think we can do the best of our ability. But guys, come on. Look at the team. Look at the team. I even looked at their bench last time. It was ridiculous. I think Foden was on the bench. Mahrez was on the bench. Rodri was on the bench. Gundogan was on the bench. Kyle Walker was on the bench. And this is what football's all about. But unfortunately, beating the big boys is becoming more and more of an irregularity in this sort of recent 5-6 years because of the money in football. And, the amount of players Leeds have out, it is up against us, let's be right. And you would expect Manchester City to beat Leeds if we're having our realistic heads on. But this is what we're here for. This is football. This is hope. This is the dream. This is fanciful thinking, which can come over logical reasoning, which provides hope, which is exactly what Marcelo Bielsa said prior to the Chelsea game. So, yeah, we saw that. Now, what else did we see at the Etihad? We had 2 shots and we scored 2 goals. We had 2 shots and we scored 2 goals. Efficient. Absolutely love that. Something housed the game. 10 men for 60 games. And what we did as well, guys, the key thing to take away from this is not only is it with Pep Guardiola and personnel, but another key facet of it is we turned it into a basketball game. And we all hate that phrase, don't we? Basketball game. Every time you play Leeds, it's naive. We let loads of goals in, which we don't. And it's a basketball game. It's end to end. But that's exactly what happened. Pep Guardiola's teams, and this is Bayern Munich, Barcelona, however far you want to go back. Pep Guardiola's teams pass you to death. They will pass you to death. And the control aspect for Pep Guardiola is absolutely everything. We've even seen in Jack Grealish's play this season, he's more about the team than the individual. And that's how they go about games. It's essentially taking the soul from the opposition, just completely taking the focus away from them and then hitting them on the overloads, hitting them down the sides with the little triangles. And it's almost just like, we'll wait. Now we'll hit them. And it's so clever how they do it, and they've got the world-class players to be able to do it. So the focus has to be on point. But if Leeds can stay in front, if Leeds can stay defensively solid as well, like we did last time over 2 games, really, we look decent in that aspect. City were massively wasteful. We will have to bank on that as well, guys. But if we turn it into a basketball game and they're not able to control the game, which I expect them to do, But if they're not able to do that, which they didn't do last season over 2 games, if we turn it into that sort of game, that is where Leeds United can win this game. Because when you turn it into an end-to-end game, like we did against Chelsea, that is where Leeds United are the most dangerous. Whoever's out, it doesn't matter. Now, I do believe that Calvin Phillips out of this game, this particular game, will be a big miss because I thought he was excellent last time out against Manchester City. His combative nature in and around the central attacking midfielder, who you might expect to be Bernardo Silva, or I don't know if Phil Foden's going to cut inside and become the second number 8. They normally like to deploy 2 8s. I don't know if that's going to happen in this game, but Calvin Phillips was pivotal there. He was the breaker up of play. He was physical. And he was, as I said at the start, he was combative, and he really helped Leeds get on the front foot. It's a very different style of game to playing Manchester City to playing Chelsea. I think we're all very aware of that. Manchester City, very ball-orientated. Chelsea, they can be a lot more dynamic on the wings and quick on the counter-attack, I believe. City are very patient on the ball. So, but the counter-attack is going to be there. The counter-attack is definitely going to be there. Scooby DJ has come in and said, we don't have the energy, I feel, so it'll be 5 at the back, 2 left up top to break. And I don't mind that. Leeds Overtime said we didn't have Phillips against Chelsea either. I agree, but I think it's 2 different games. I think if you look at Chelsea, you look at Manchester City, and to be fair, you look at Liverpool, they're completely different teams, completely different styles, in my opinion, completely different ways of going about it. And I actually think Thomas Tuchel overthinks it against Bielsa as well. And isn't it fascinating that when managers do come up against Marcelo Bielsa, they do start to overthink, especially the top managers. They do start to overthink. And that's why Ole used to have so much success against him, because he's not a top manager. But there you go. Maybe you just need to simplify it. So it's going to be fascinating to see how City start. I'm going to flash up in a little bit, as I said, how I'd start. But Helder Costa in the game last year was excellent. Jasper's come in. Easy Connor, how you doing, mate? Jack said a perfect game for Cresswell in a bit. Yeah, we'll get into that. But Costa was excellent. I remember in that game, very, very good, very, very defensively aware. Someone who understood the system as well, didn't ever get dragged out of position, and was good when Leeds were on the counter-attack. Now, I would say we've had a little bit of an upgrade in terms of Dan James there, but it's whether or not Marcelo Bielsa starts him on the wing. I think we all know where Bielsa is going to start Dan James, which is going to be different from on the wing. So, yeah, but I think the positive there is I think Helder Costa is an upgrade to, Dan James is an upgrade to Helder Costa. So I think that's really, really beneficial for Leeds United in that aspect. And obviously, Jack Harrison wasn't able to play in this game last time, obviously, because he was a Manchester City player. So Leeds are sort of bolstered on the wings. You know, you could say that. Whereas obviously, I know centrally, Patrick Bamford being out's massive. He occupied Nathan Ake. He occupied John Stones for large parts of it, which we're going to massively miss, that high press from the front. And also Calvin Phillips. They're going to be 2 huge misses in this game. But yeah, Helder Costa was really good. But can Dan James, sort of replicate that? Him and Rafinha on the counter-attack. Dan James on any counter-attack is going to be absolutely frightening. We did see that against Chelsea as well. You know, anytime he got the ball in those positions, you do see Chelsea naturally reverting back and on the toes. You know, they can't be flat-footed against Dan James. He can go left, he can go right. He's quite unpredictable. And I think that's sometimes a positive and a negative. But what else did we see? John Stones. All I remember from the game is Stuart Dallas running through and John Stones. I had to watch the extended highlights before coming on here. John Stones was getting the ball and just running through the centre part. And listen, if this was happening before Liam Cooper was sent off, he was just running through the middle. And Leeds seemed happy to do that. We did it with Thiago Silva. We've done it with Harry Maguire before. And I think we just, by leaving a centre-back through the middle, it's very anxiety-ridden, being a Leeds fan, and a centre-back being left to get the ball and essentially come through the middle of Leeds. They're allowed to do that. That is the way we play. It's just whether or not the centre-back can then be economical with the ball, which I thought John Stones was, but the final third was poor. And this is what I mean, guys. It's all going to be on the front 3. It's all going to be on the front 3, in my opinion, for Manchester City. Who starts there? Is it going to be Mahrez? Is Foden going to come back in? Is Grealish going to make up that front 3? Is Gabriel Jesus going to be in there as an out-and-out number 9? We have no idea. Pep Guardiola probably doesn't have any idea, but this is where we can hope that he's going to overthink it and get it wrong. So as I said, that we can hope that they can play our way. We'll have to wait and see on that one. But Rodri wasn't in the side that day. Obviously, he's been incredible this year, arguably City's best player. Jack Grealish wasn't featuring. We know. You do wonder, is he going to turn around to Jack Grealish and say, just play your game? instead of being this team player that's knocking it around and looking for those overlaps and really being methodical in his thinking, is he going to say to Jack Grealish, just get the ball and run at them? You know, because I think that is the way to hurt Leeds in a man-for-man system. It's having quality players running at our players and beating them and opening up those spaces. So if they're able to do that, that's when it's going to be a big, big problem for Leeds. If they're sort of passing the ball on the outside, looking for those intricate balls in and around Jesus, and we're able to pack that defence out, pack that midfield out centrally, that could be beneficial for Leeds. They'll still have chances, but if we can pack it out, that'll be very, very beneficial. And hopefully they won't be able to do that. But it's going to be dependent on what Pep Guardiola does. Again, Bielsa, as I said to you guys at the start, 7 players on yellows, which is not great. But let's see what else we've got down here. I'm gonna get my lineup here now. I've been talking for quite a while now. I'm just gonna get my lineup. Keep getting your comments in, everybody. I really appreciate that. There's 350 of you here. If I can get 350 likes, that'd be amazing. But these were the stats up last time. So, yeah, a lot of people remember that day in very different ways to how I did. You know, I actually came out of that game and said, Leeds were brilliant. Leeds were, you know, we were getting counterattacks. We were doing this, that, and the other. But I will say, guys, I'm going to flash those statistics up again. But just because you don't have the shots, just because you don't have the, you know, shots off goal, shots on goal, whatever, it doesn't mean that you didn't create attacking phases of play. It doesn't mean you didn't do that. And Leeds did. You know, there was the time where Rafinha was through, and then Fernandinho just took him out, absolutely took him out. It was a red card for me, that one, and that was on that day. Rafinha was essentially through. There was loads of other occasions where you saw in the extended highlights where it was all about decision making for Leeds. They made the wrong pass, and essentially the attack broke down. But Leeds would get themselves into really good positions, and I'm convinced against any Pep Guardiola team, the counter attack is always on. But it's whether or not you can do that, and it's whether or not Leeds can keep it tight at the back. So these were the statistics in the last game, which is naturally what you'd probably expect. But like I say to you guys, you know, they were absolutely unbelievable last time they'd won. As I said, I think it was 24 games, 20 out of 25. As you can see here, this is probably what we're going to be expecting tomorrow night as well, everybody. So hold your horses for that one. I don't think it's going to be a dominant game for Leeds United at the minute. So yeah. A lot of you guys are asking about the debrief as well. I believe it's going to be Wednesday, the debrief. We don't know though yet. I'm waiting on the lads' schedules. So we'll have to wait and see on that one. But hopefully it's going to be Wednesday, but you'll have to bear with me on that one. So these were the lineups last time we faced up against each other. As you can see, I've got Leeds in the nice sort of burgundy outliner there with the kit that we had that day. If you just want a visual on exactly how Leeds set up, so we've got Edison there in net for City, Chancelo, I should say, who is out of this game, who has been absolutely massive for Manchester City. He's been an absolute revelation, contributing to goals, contributing to assists, contributing to attacking phase of players, I keep saying. And he's a wonderful footballer. So he's out for this one. He's suspended, which is a big boost for Leeds United. You can see Bernardo Silva in there as well, who's taken on another lease of life this season. Allegedly was supposed to leave Man City last season, didn't, stuck around, and he's been an absolute revelation once again. Fernandinho has still been played in and around there. We've now seen Rodri come in for City, and he's been brilliant as well. And as you can see, guys, the front three there, I mean, they can manipulate that to Grealish. Grealish, Sterling up front, Phil Foden. They can use Gabriel Jesus, as you can see there. They've got a whole arsenal. They can play Kevin De Bruyne in that front three if they want, obviously, who didn't feature this game as well for the full 90 he came on. As you can see with Leeds there, Ilan Meslier, Luke Ayling, Llorente, Cooper, Alioski. So still that left-hand side didn't fill me with a lot of hope going into this, and they were okay. Calvin Phillips in that position, which you would expect Adam Forshaw to be in, and the front five, as you expect, really. Patrick Bamford being the huge miss in this one, obviously. So, Kieran has said, I honestly believe that if you look at the series of unfortunate events that we've had, we're still hanging strong. Football is so mercurial. Yeah, it's not a bad shout. Richard said, we will be up for City after last season. We know we can beat them, definitely. So, and then let's have a look at, this is what I think Bielsa's, actually, I'll go with what I think we should go for. This is what I think we should go for. So, this is sort of my team for the game today. I wish it was today. Tomorrow, I'd go Ilan Meslier in there. I'd keep Luke Ayling at right back, and let me know what you guys think. But I think Luke Ayling is better at right back, and I think he was good. Sort of, I went again. I actually said in my stream that I thought they were poor as a centre back partnership against Chelsea. But watching it back, I don't really think that. I think it was just the fact that I thought that every time Chelsea were getting up to, Luke Ayling and Llorente, they were causing a few problems. But I'd like to see Luke Ayling back in his natural position so he can cause overlaps and we can really utilise that on the counter. Cresswell, I would love to see him in for this one. I really would, guys. He came on for Lukaku at the weekend. I thought he came on. He was only on for a short period, but he just never looks flustered. He never looks flustered. And I think him next to Diego Llorente, a little bit of experience there, would do him a world of good, especially against a world-class outfit like Manchester City. Why not? Why not? And I don't think Jamie Shackleton's a right back. I don't like Jamie Shackleton at right back. I don't think he's good at one-on-ones. I think when he gets beyond the halfway line, bless him, he gets a nosebleed. And that's because I think naturally he's a central midfielder. So I wouldn't be having, I won't be having Shackleton at right back. I think we lose a lot with him at right back. I'll put Ayling there. Junior, who had his best game in a Leeds shirt for me at left back. Let's hope he can continue with that. Adam in the middle, Forshaw, who continues to be absolutely phenomenal for Leeds. Stuart Dallas, the destroyer of Manchester City, in the middle there. I thought those two worked really nicely together. Tyler Roberts, who I have to say has now started adding output to his game, which I absolutely love. And it's some incredible performances from him. And, that's not me being fair weather. I criticised Tyler because I don't think his output was there, but now he's gaining that. And that's good. That's what we need to see from Tyler Roberts. We need that consistently. I would go with Dan James once again in his natural position where I think he's best. And I think we can hurt them on the counter-attack. Rafinha on the right. Nothing else needs to be said, really. And I'd go with Joe Gelhardt. Because I think he's going to be able to occupy the centre-backs. I think we need that. I don't think we need, 5-6 midfielders. I think Joe Gelhardt needs to be up there because I think Leeds are going to have to hold it up, in the final third sometimes. I think with his stocky nature and how technical he is on the ball, I think Joe Gelhardt would do that. And I don't think they're expecting it. I don't think they'd expect Joe Gelhardt to start, which I quite like. Let me know what you think in the comments section below. Ollie said, "Love the lineup, Connor, but in crazy Bielsa, we trust, and why not?" Sell Shackleton, I wouldn't go that far, to be honest with you. I wouldn't go that far. I like Shackleton. I've always said that I'd like him in the central midfield space when we need a combative midfielder in there. Now I think I'm going to pull up, guys, what I think Marcelo will do. So this is what I think the Great One will do. So I think he's going to go with Elan net. I think we're going to see Shackleton at right back, which I think, what we know with Marcelo Bielsa is he loves the continuum, and Shackleton started there now. Obviously, like a couple of times. He's done it a fair few times this season, and Bielsa seems to keep putting him there. Luke Ayling, I think we're going to see at centre-back again. Diego Llorente. Junior Firpo, I think we're going to see Forshaw and Dallas in the middle. Rafa, Roberts, Harrison, and Dan James. That's what I think we're going to see, guys. Obviously, there's several reasons behind that, but that is my sort of point of view on it. So let me know what you guys think on that front, really. But yeah, I just think with Jamie Shackleton, he sees him as that sort of player who maybe has got that sort of energy, and I don't know whether or not he rates that above Luke Ayling at the minute, or whether or not he just thinks Charlie Cresswell isn't ready for the start. So yeah, so we'll have to wait and see, guys. I said I was going on for half an hour, and that's where I'm going to leave it, really, because I know a lot of you guys have just joined. But what I want to say to you is you can watch it back on the playback. Gelhardt will start, says Mick. Phil says, really think Bielsa has learned Joffrey up front this time. Maybe make some changes because of fitness. That's true, Alejandro. But I think probably the underlying reason behind that, Alejandro, is the fact that we just don't have that many players off the bench. I think the bench at the minute, and I will say this is a disgrace. And listen, a lot of you might say, disgrace, Connor, that's harsh. I mean, just in terms of quality, there's barely a Premier League cap between them. It arguably is one of the worst benches in Premier League history, and that's no slight on the youngsters at all. They've barely played. I don't know if we've got. I think Gelhardt's even started one game, and I think when you look at the likes of Liam McCarron, Stuart McKinstry, Cody Drame, this is all in terms of age, and in terms of recruitment, in terms of squad depth. It's all well and good looking at the Chelsea game and being very results biased and recency biased, which I think we all are. But we just simply have to strengthen that department in January. It has to happen. And just because we've had a good performance against Chelsea, it's very, very in my opinion, naive to think that we're not going to pick up more injuries because and you look, guys, we've got 7 players on yellow cards, on 4 yellow cards. Okay, so that's more disruption. We've got an international break coming up in the new year. So we've really got to bear this stuff in mind and not just think, well, we've done well against Chelsea with the squad that we've had. We played really well, so now we don't need to do anything. That's not, for me, that's not a sort of long-term way of looking at it. And we don't know how long Calvin's going to be out for. So I think there's certainly things that Leeds need to do. We've had no update on Liam Cooper. We've had no real update on Patrick Bamford today either. It's all been circulated around. Sorry, guys, I'm just going to get my charger. There we go. If it's going a bit fuzzy. Yeah, so I think it's all been circulated around Calvin Phillips naturally. So yeah, I still think there needs to be a lot done in January. But yeah, I really appreciate you joining, guys. Prediction. Obviously, because we've not done the debrief this week because it's been packed and needed to get a preview out. I am going to go... I'm going to go a respectable 2-1 loss. Okay, I'm going to go. I think City are going to win it. I think they're just going to have a little bit too much, but I think Leeds United will push them all the way, which I think is going to be really good and really encouraging. But I think we've got to be realistic. I can't come in here and say Leeds are going to win 3-0. Graham's come in and said 4-1. Russell said 2-1. 0-0 says, right, God, imagine that 0-0. 3-1 City, 5-0 Leeds, says Ian. So there's a lot of, sort of mix there, guys. But let me know exactly what you think in the comment section below. Make sure you comment after the video because guess what? I read all of your comments. Try to keep them respectful as well. I really appreciate that. And just remember, it's football. We all don't need to be abusing each other and all that sort of stuff. I think we saw that at the weekend as well. So let me know what you think, guys. Have a great evening and come on, Leeds.